Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students of grade 10th. Today we are going to start unit number 6. It's my first lecture of unit number 6. So open your books at page number 56. Page number is 56. The name of the poet is In Spite of War. In Spite of War. Now let's start doing the reading. In spite of war, in spite of death, in spite of all man's suffering, something within me laughs and sings, and I must praise with all my breath. In spite of war, in spite of hate, lilacs are blooming at my gate. Tulips are dripping down the path, in spite of war, in spite of wrath. Courage, the morning glory saith, rejoice, the daisy murmureth, and just to live in so divine, when pansies lift their eyes to mine, the clouds are romping with the sea, and flashing waves call back to me that not is real but what is fair, that wherever and wherever a glory liveth through despair. Though guns may roar and cannon boom, roses are born and gardens bloom, my spirit still may light its flame at that some torch whence poppies come. Where morning's altar whitely burns, lilacs may lift their silver urns, in spite of war, in spite of shame, and in my ear a whispering breath. Wake from the nightmare, look and see that life is not but ecstasy, in spite of war, in spite of death, by Anjali Morgan. Now let's underline some difficult words and I'll show you their Urdu meanings. The first word is in spite of. In spite of sufferings, lilacs, blooming, tulips, wreath, rejoice, daisy, murmureth, fancies, romping, not, despair, cannon, boom, poppies. Altar, whispering, nightmare, ecstasy. Now let me show you their Urdu meanings. The first word is in spite of. In spite of means ke bawajood. Lilacs means guleyas. Bloom mean khilna. Tulip means gule lala. Wrath means gusse. Rejoice, khushi. Divine, मुकद्दस. पेंसीज, बनफशा के फूल. रोम्पिंग, खेलना. नॉट, कोई चीज़ भी नहीं. डिस्पेयर, मायूसी. कैनन, तोप. बूम, तोप की आवाज़. युन्स, गुलदान. विस्परिंग, सरगोशी. नाइटमेयर मीन्स डरावना ख्वाब. एक्सटेसी मीन्स वजद या खुशी. Sufferings, Mushkilat. Daisy, Gule Daudi. Altar, Kurbanga. Poppies, Kokhnar ke Pool. Marmarit, Gungunana. Now let's do the explanation of this poem. This poem is written by Angela Morgan, and the theme of this poem is basically hope. In spite of war, in spite of death, in spite of all man's suffering, something within me laughs and sings, and I must praise with all my breath. In this stanza, the poetess Angela Morgan is saying that in spite of war and in spite of destruction, death and death casualties and suffering caused by war, there is something in my mind and heart that laughs and sings the songs of pleasure and hope. This enables us to survive in the bad situation. In spite of war, in spite of hate, lilacs are blooming at my gate. Tulips are dripping down the path, in spite of war, in spite of wrath. In these lines, the poetess is saying that people hate each other. People hate each other, they are angry with each other. Wars are fought due to the hatred and anger against each other. But in spite of all these things, lilacs are blooming and tulips are also blooming and growing along the path. These flowers give us hope and beauty. These flowers give us hope and beauty, and it also beautifies our surrounding. Courage the morning glory saith, rejoice, the daisy murmureth, and just to live is so divine. When pansies lift their eyes to mine. In these lines, the poetess is saying that in spite of war and in spite of the death, there is glory all around, the glory of morning. Call us to have courage and do not be disappointed, do not be disheartened. The daisy flower softly speak to us to be happy and do not worry about the war suffering. Life itself is very beautiful, and it becomes more lovely when pansy plants bloom. The clouds are romping with the sea, and flashing waves call back to me that naught is real but what is fair, that everywhere and everywhere a glory liveth through despair. In these lines, the poetess is saying that life springs in the form of natural beauty. There are clouds playing with splashing waves of the sea water. She further says that nothing is real except the things that there is nothing real except the things that are beautiful, and this beauty gives us courage to live in the world in spite of all the hopelessness. Though guns may roar and cannon booms, roses are born and gardens bloom. My spirit may lift its flame at that some torch. Hence poppies come. In these lines, the poetess is saying that the war is continuing all around the world. We hear the horrible sounds of guns and cannons. But in spite of all the gloomy and terrible situation, natural beauty is still there. Roses are born and gardens are colorful and green due to the blooming of flowers. These things are a ray of hope for us, and when poppies bloom, the poetess is in high spirits. Then, in spite of war, which is very shameful, lilacs grow everywhere, reducing the horror of war. Now, turn the page. Where morning's altar whitely burns, lilacs may lift their silver urns, in spite of war, in spite of shame. In this stanza, the poetess is saying that in spite of war, which is very shameful, lilacs are growing everywhere, reducing the horror of war. And in my ear, a whispering breath. Wake from the nightmare, look and see that life is not but ecstasy, in spite of war, in spite of death. In these lines, the poetess is saying that her breath softly speaks to her ear to wake up from the frightening dream, from the nightmare. Life is not so much ugly and terrible. Look and see around, and you will notice that life is name of joy. That life is the name of joy. Come out of your dreams and enjoy life. In spite of the fact that war is going on and death can be seen everywhere. Dear students, this poet is basically about hope. The poetess is giving us the concept of hope, that we should not lose hope. Whenever we are in some difficulties, we should be hopeful. We should not be hopeless. Thank you, dear students.